Hello, welcome to the A&B podcast, the podcast where two regular dudes discuss the various news in entertainment from movies, TV shows, and games. I'm Birkin, and today I'm joined by the wonderful Oggy.
Hello there.
Hello, Oggy. Welcome aboard. How have you been, my friend?
Very good, thank you, Birkin. Enjoying the crap out of lockdown. How about you?
I've been all right, thank you very much. I've just been gaming and watching stuff, the usual. But yeah, no, we've got a pretty jam-packed episode today, so let's get into it.
Sure.
So, the film news we have first is that the fans of Tarantino have been demanding his final film to be Kill Bill 3. Now, Tarantino confirmed a while back that he planned on only making 10 movies, and now this would be his 10th following his previous movie. What are your thoughts on this? Would you want a Kill Bill 3 or would you not? Would you rather he did something else?
Um, I don't, I don't actually know, to be honest, because I only think it'd be appropriate for a Kill Bill 3 if Tarantino thinks he can make a decent 3 to finish the trilogy. Really,
Mhm.
I, I mean, I can see the appeal. Kill Bill is a fantastic two movie series already. So yeah, I don't know actually. How about you?
I mean, I'd be excited for it. Like I say, it had a good cast, it had a really good story. But again, the issue is where can that story go
Yeah,
as well? Like, because obviously it was a tribute to the movies of old when it first came out and everything. But I'd be very interested in seeing it, considering like it's what probably his most iconic like movie franchise, I guess. Um, but yeah, no, I would be excited for it. Like I said, I would also be excited if he went and did something new as well. Because I knew at the beginning he was in talks to do a Star Trek movie, but I don't know if that's fallen flat or
Star
anything
Trek
like that.
movie.
Yeah, there was some rumors that he was going to do an R-rated Star Trek movie, but I don't know if that's fallen through.
Oh God, that would have been weird.
I know, lots of toes. Um, but yeah, no, like you said, it'll be very interesting to see if we do get a Kill Bill 3 to, I guess, presumably finish off his movie collection. Again, I don't even know if this will be his last one. I know he said that, but he said a lot of stuff in the past. I
I,
feel like I don't feel like he'll end on 10.
mm,
Like, I don't know how you feel about that. Do you reckon he'll do 10 and then that'll be it?
well, it depends on really if he's lost the passion for it.
That's true. Yeah,
It-
I mean,
he could
he is the man of the old, isn't he?
he could make this new movie and then decide, you know what? I feel like another maybe three movies coming along. I might do some more.
Once you can't ever get out of the game because you know what they say, right?
Yeah,
Once you try to leave, they pull you right back in.
actually, do you know what would be really funny if Quentin Tarantino, instead of making Kill Bill 3, announces, "Oh, this next movie will be my last one," and just comes out of left field with a completely different movie, like, "Hey, this movie's going to be Inglorious Bastards Part 2." Like, but
Why
this is
not?
not what we wanted, but okay.
Yeah, no, exactly. But no, I would be very interested. Look, for me, I've got a really big soft spot for Tarantino movies. I think they're great.
Mm.
Um, I mean, I guess you could call them torture porn to an extent, uh, but I think they're quite good fun. In other news, Tenet, the Christopher Nolan movie, which is coming out supposedly this year, has been delayed to nobody knows when due to the virus, which has obviously been around since, I don't know, I want to say 4 or 5 months now.
Well, it's been a
Um,
little bit longer than that, actually.
oh, really? Well, there you are. I hope everybody's been keeping safe as usual. But yeah, no, Tenant is delayed, a very big blockbuster for this year. Were you excited for Tenant, Oggy?
Well, until about maybe 15 minutes ago when I watched the trailer, when you told me what Tenet was, I had no idea what this movie was. So,
No,
after watching
yeah.
the trailer, it does look really interesting. I still am convinced it's not Nolan who's doing this, it's actually Hideo Kojima in disguise. The trailer is just so weird. I
It
don't
is
even know what
very
the movie
weird.
is.
That's the thing. Like, I'm excited for it, but like you say, it's very bizarre, and I guess that's sort of part of the curiosity, right, and the intrigue that you have about wanting to go see it because it's so like left field.
People just want to know what the hell it is. It's like Death Stranding. No one knew what kind of game it was going to be, and then suddenly it came out and everyone's like, oh, of course, it's that kind of game. Of course Hidejima made this kind of game. So
It's a
when we
walking
watch this movie,
simulator.
it's probably going to be the same thing. We're like, what kind of film is this going to be? And then, of course, this is the only kind of film Nolan can make.
No, very good point. That very good point. That's the thing. I think it was the same sort of thing with Inception because people didn't really know what that was meant to be, and
Yeah,
then it just
I'm
sold
still
out
confused.
completely. Still confused. I love it. But no, like you said, I'm very excited for this because I love Christopher Nolan. I don't think he's ever really made a bad movie. Um, Personally, I didn't really like Dunkirk, but that's just me. I prefer his original stuff, like proper original stuff, other than the Dark Knight trilogy, because that's my favorite trilogy and all. Um,
Mm.
but no, I'm very excited if to see how well this does. It also does have Robert Pattinson in it, doesn't it?
That boy is very busy lately.
He is very busy lately, and you know what? Speaking of Robert Pattinson, have I got some news for you, my friend? HBO have confirmed with Warner Brothers that they're going to be making a Gotham PD show. Now, this is going to be completely separate from the Gotham show that was made on Fox, which is now on Netflix, which is I think ended now. Um,
Are
this
you
Gotham
referring to
PD,
Gotham?
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yeah, it's ended now, right?
Yes, it's finished.
Yeah. This Gotham PD show will be a prequel to the upcoming Robert Pattinson Batman movie. How do you feel about this, Hoggy? I know me and you have, our issues with Robert, but
Well, it's not really Robert. It's more like the stuff that we've seen of the movie so far. I mean, there's nothing we can really say about the movie except what we've seen. But
Mhm.
regarding this Gotham PD show, again, there's not a lot out there except what we just discussed, and that is this is a prequel to the upcoming movie, and it's being headed by HBO, which is weird now that I think about it, because almost everything else has been done by Fox or what was the other group? Oh God, what were they called? Um, Same people that made the what's it called? The
LCW.
that's the one. Yeah.
I
So
think
it's
Warner Brothers owns HBO.
do they?
I think so. I'm not 100% sure, but I think they do.
God, that's really exposing my lack of knowledge. Oh,
But like I said, I'm not 100% sure, but I think that Warner Brothers owns HBO. I know they had I think 30 or 40% deal with someone else for CW.
mm.
So that was a shared network, I guess. But I'm not sure if they own HBW. I want to say they do, but I could be completely wrong. Um, but look that up for us. Leave it in the comments, I guess. Uh, but no, I'm very excited to see how the show will be, just because it will be a different to the Fox Gotham, because I feel like this one will be probably a lot darker considering it's on HBO and everything, and they seem to love dark things lately.
Mm.
But also budget will be a lot better than the Fox show,
That'll be
and
interesting.
and presumably the writing. I think they said that they were going to be bringing in the same guy that's going to be playing Gordon from the Batman movie as well into the prequel. So my presumption is that could it be that this and the upcoming Batman movie is very inspired by Year One?
That would be really nice if they did that.
Just because that's the feeling I'm getting. Because obviously you'd have Gordon coming in from Chicago to Gotham as well, and that kind of I guess fits with the whole beginning of the Bat and everything.
Well, it's good to hear that they're getting an increased budget compared to the was it the Fox TV series?
Yeah, the Fox
Yes,
one. Yeah.
because I'm just hoping that they use it wisely and not spend it all on CGI. That would be a real shame if this was entirely a CGI fest. But
Yeah, no, I do agree. Do you reckon it'll be like a case of the week sort of thing?
I reckon that will be the direction they take. If they do that, I will not be disappointed because, after all, this is a Gotham PD show. This is all about detective work and exploring. It's in essence like what Gotham should have been, which is
Mhm.
um, just the police solving crimes, further exploring the inner mysteries of Gotham City before Batman came to prominence and just the exploration of Gordon as a character as he grew to become the commissioner. So when we get into the Batman, what will eventually be like the successor to the show, or like maybe a companion to the show, even, we'll have a really good, rich understanding of what this new Gotham City will look like, especially in this time frame of like a pre-Batman, pre-Gordon, or like just as they're starting off. It'll be a really nice way to explore it. No disrespect to the Gotham series that's come before. It's fantastic. I actually really like that series. I just
Really?
think I really like that series. It's fantastic. I just wish that there were certain elements that were slightly different, but hopefully this series will learn from those mistakes and learn from the successes and merits of that show and just become a superior successor.
Okay. Yeah, no, that I mean that's perfectly fair. I mean, I personally used to like Gotham, and then I started to hate it, and then I stopped watching. Um, but in terms of this Gotham PD show, I'm very excited for it. Just like you are with the whole, world building and everything like that. That will be very intriguing to see what sort of vibe they go for.
And
Um,
since you said that the Alfred actor from the movie is going to be in the show as well, then this
no, I
would make.
said the Gordon character actor.
Sorry, not Gordon, sorry, Alfred, the Gordon character, thank you. The Gordon character is going to be across both, right? Which means this will be the first, like, in a sense, the first DC show to ever fully cross over onto the silver screen.
Very true. Have you ever seen the show Person of Interest?
No, I have not.
See, because I would really like it to be inspired by that show. I definitely recommend it. It's a fantastic show, and it's written by Nolan's brother, John
Ooh.
Nolan. He created the show. He's now working on Westworld. Um,
Oh,
but that I would say that's very inspired by Batman without being Batman, if that makes sense.
okay.
It's all about like technology and surveillance and stuff, and like without giving too much away, there's like this machine which looks after like surveils you and stuff for the government or whatever, and it's made by this one guy who's kind of like this
Like
oracle
Big
kind of
Brother.
figure. Yeah, like a big brother, but it's a good big brother.
Oh, that's
Um,
weird.
and it can like it sends messages to the main characters, if that makes sense.
Okay.
But the messages will be like in like what do you want to call it? Like army code, like Alpha, Bravo,
Oh,
etc.
yeah. Phonetic.
And that sort of thing. And you actually end up getting really attached to the machine. It's really weird. But it's really cool. It's like I said, created by John Nolan, and it also stars later on his uncle, who's also called John Nolan. Uh, but it's fantastic. I definitely recommend it. I know it was on Netflix at some point. I don't know if it still is, but definitely check that out. That's very Batman-ish without being Batman, if that makes
De-
sense.
Definitely will. Hopefully, this new series will do what I read in an article describing this show in detail. They said that apparently this show might be like the stepping stone or like the springboard for a new uh, cross-platform Batman universe where they actually fully explore all the different areas, which would be really nice for a change instead of just okay, here's a short segment, finish this run. Okay, here's Adam West, finish this run. George Clooney, Robert Pattinson,
Oh,
Christopher. I would like a fully explored one. There's like 80 years of comics, and don't tell me there's not enough content for you to work with.
yeah, true. No, I mean, it would be quite intriguing, won't it?
It would be really cool if they could actually pull it off. Like maybe in time they can make a sequel to the Batman with Robert Pattinson, of course, attached to it, where they explore more of the Bat family, like Batwoman, Batgirl, but not like Batwoman the TV series because no, thank you.
You know what? Speaking of Batman in those regards, I'd actually really like a Batman documentary series where we go through like the creation of the character from the beginning to all the different movies and the vibes that they were going for.
Oh, you mean
You
an
know,
in-depth like pre-production documentary?
yeah, like a proper documentary, but of the character.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Like from comic to screen to game, etc. But we get like we sit down with like George Clooney and talk about what went wrong with uh,
That's a
his
bit
version of the
harsh.
character, and his back credit card. Of course, he doesn't leave the cave without it, folks. Uh, but it'll be interesting to see if we ever get something like that. But like you said,
Maybe
this
we could do a video in the future,
yeah,
like that.
maybe. It would be quite exciting, wouldn't it? But you know, we'll see further down the line. Netflix hit me up. But otherwise, moving on from TV, we're going to move into the gaming section, and we've got a lot to go through here. So the first bit of news we have is that officially the PlayStation 5 box art has been revealed. What do you reckon, Oggy? Do you like the colours? Do you like the white on the box?
Do I like the white on the box? It's just a different color. It's like completely. What am I to say here? It's just a
It,
box cover art. I like it. It looks professional. It matches the console. That's all I have to say.
a lot of people were saying they wanted the box to be black because it looks kind of odd with it being blue.
Who cares if it's black or blue? It's just a box. If you really care that much, then make your own.
Hey, I'm just discussing what's out there.
I'm sorry. It's just I don't see why this is a massive issue. It's just literally a bit of plastic.
It's very true, very true. But some people like their boxes, I guess. But like you said, it's not really that big of a deal. It looks cool. It looks clean. Personally, I would have preferred if the box was black, just because it would be a bit different. But it's not
Honestly,
really,
Sony can send me the PlayStation 5 games in a plastic sleeve. As long as the game is still intact and it works, I'm happy.
and it's good.
Yes, and
Yeah.
it's good. If they gave me like what like Bethesda did, where they just send you the boxes, but it had no disc, it just had like a cardboard cutout with the redeemable code in it, I would be so angry.
Brilliant. Now, moving on to some actual proper news. Uh,
Thank you.
um, Apparently, there's a rumor going around that the Harry Potter RPG is set to be coming for 2021. Apparently, it's meant to be early 2021. Are you
Oh
excited for an RPG in the Harry Potter world? Are you excited for this game?
yes, absolutely, absolutely, 100%.
That's the thing. I'm really excited for this. I think it's got massive potential to be something brilliant.
Unfortunately, the Wizarding World franchise, is that what it's called now? It's no longer Harry Potter. They call it the Wizarding World, right?
I presume so. Let's just say yes.
Yeah, yeah, because they had to rebrand it since the release of Fantastic Beasts, because they can't call Fantastic Beasts Harry Potter franchise because it's before
Oh
Harry Potter.
yeah, yeah, makes sense.
The Wizarding World franchise has kind of been quite quiet lately since they haven't released any new movies. No new books are coming out at all. There's that play on Broadway, I think. Yeah,
Oh,
that's not
the
that.
cursed child.
Oh, don't even start. That's still happening. I think so. This is exactly what the community's been looking forward to, and especially since there's been games of Harry Potter in the past. Like they've made PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4 games for Harry Potter, but nothing can quite fully encapsulate the magic of the world. So an open world RPG is exactly what it needs. The only way they can make this game better if it was an open world Lego game. That's all I'm saying.
That's the thing, because I feel like the best Harry Potter game that's been released is the Lego ones, right?
Yes, absolutely. I'd like to start both of those games. They're fantastic.
No, I mean I totally agree with you. Like the Lego games in general are fantastic always, but this would be something really good fun, and even people who aren't Harry Potter fans, I think this is the perfect way to entice them into that world.
Mm.
Especially if you do have the whole, you get sorted to a different house. I feel like that'd be fantastic. And
Oh, that'd be
apparently,
so cool.
if you can play Quidditch, you are on for a moneymaker. That's all I'm saying, because
Oh,
that'd be
100%.
brilliant. But no, I am really excited for it because I remember I think it was Prisoner of Azkaban, you could kind of explore Hogwarts a little bit, which was really
Yes.
cool to see. But again, if they could do this really well with this RPG, it could be something like phenomenal. But again, we're gonna have to wait and see because, like I said, we haven't seen anything about it. We just know it exists.
Oh, one more thing. If anyone that's listening is somehow tied in with the production and wants to take some tips, two tips. One, no loot crates. Absolutely not. You'll instantly lose sales. Just saying. Second thing is, if you want to make this game be a box office success or whatever the hell they call like the gaming industry equivalent, if you want to get it to that top level, make sure that this open world experience extends beyond what we've already seen. So, like, obviously, we've seen the castle of Hogwarts and we've seen Hogsmeade, right?
Mhm.
But in the movies, they actually go into a lot more different locations, and same in the books. There's so many different locations that haven't been properly translated into the games, the movies. So, if you want to like have some more areas to explore, you could totally do that. There are so many ways to incorporate these into the games. The only thing they need to do is just do it. And if they put in that extra effort, it will definitely be appreciated.
No, I totally agree. It's all about world building, and obviously, it's great to have the stuff we've already seen as like Easter eggs and everything.
Oh,
But it's
okay.
also yes,
Very quick question. If this game is everything we hope it to be, what house would you like to be sorted into?
I'm a Hufflepuff.
A Hufflepuff.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
yeah. What about you? I presume you're a Ravenclaw.
No. Every time I've done a quiz or anything like that, it's always been Gryffindor or Slytherin, which is weird. But
Oh, that's weird. I could never see you as a Slytherin, but
I, I know, like for some reason, I'm a Slytherin sometimes, but like I'm mostly
okay,
Gryffindor.
fair enough. Fair news there. Fair news.
So
But
2021, that's very soon.
that is very soon, considering how fast these months has run by. But yeah, that's the thing. Like, I presume if they go for early, we'd probably see it in March. Um, but again, that depends. And also, as you were saying, we haven't seen anything from that world because I believe that the next Fantastic Beast, whatever it's called,
Yeah.
um, was meant to release this year, I think, but I'm not
I
100
actually
percent sure.
I actually don't know. Let me just double check quickly. Fantastic Beasts 3. Um it says it's been delayed.
Oh,
It's
well,
now
there you are.
2021. It's 2021 now.
Yeah, see, I guess that kind of makes sense. I guess you could release this RPG and then build up to that movie kind of thing. Like,
Or
obviously,
better
it's
yet,
its
they
own
could
thing, but like
yeah.
that franchise in general. But no, I'm very excited for you, just like yourself. I'm hoping it's fun and not boring.
Oh my god, can you imagine all the effort and suddenly it's like the most boring thing ever? You've got to go into class, you've got to study the books. Oh my god, no.
Dude, I'd actually quite like that.
As long as it's like it's as long as it's like interesting. I don't want to see like mountains of textbooks which is nothing but like boring text.
See, I don't want to go to London. Don't do stuff like that.
You don't want to
Like,
go to London.
yeah, like how like they go into like London sometimes. I
Oh
don't
yeah,
want any of
there's
that. Just keep it in the Wizarding world, please. Don't go to like existing places.
yeah. So like go to like the World Cup area when they did for Goblet of Fire.
Yeah, and stuff like go to the forest and stuff like that.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
But no, we'll have to wait and see. We'll obviously bring you any more information we get on that. Um, moving on from Harry Potter and Warner Brothers, slightly, we had the Ubisoft Forward event where Ubisoft decided to reveal a bunch of games. They were pretty much all the games everybody was expecting because Ubisoft. The first one they revealed was Far Cry 6, which is set to star Gus from Breaking Bad. And apparently, it's rumored that Vass is coming back for that as well. But no, how did you feel about Far Cry?
I am El Presidente, which means one day you'll be El Presidente. Here is a grenade. Do not drop it.
So I presume you were very excited.
Um, I've got a confession to make. I have not played any of the Far Cry
Oh,
games.
right. Okay. To
um,
be
I-
fair, like if you've never played any, this would be a good starting point because I presume they'll put a lot of effort into this.
well, yeah, okay. So I can give you an outsider's perspective. I've never played any Far Cry games, and I've seen all the trailers from Far Cry 3 onwards. I just didn't have the money to go into, or really the appeal to go into them.
Mhm.
But from what I've seen of this trailer, it looks very interesting. I'm very keen to actually possibly play this. It looks really cool. I don't know if it's directly tied into any of the previous games. Do you know if it is, or
Only I believe from the Voss element because Voss was in Far Cry 3.
is Vass a
But
protagonist or an antagonist?
Voss was a villain in Far Cry 3.
Right. Okay.
He's like the really popular one. You know the guy that people meme with the whole insanity quote from
Oh,
Einstein?
yes. Yeah. I've
Yeah,
definitely
that
seen
guy.
him. Really? So he's
Uh,
in this game?
apparently, yeah, he's in that game. I don't know if that means you're playing as him or if he's the kid or anything like that, but
Oh my god! Can you imagine if he's the protagonist?
supposedly he might be the protagonist, but we don't know.
That would be really
Um,
cool.
but I think it's set in Cuba, right, or something around that
Um,
area because it's
no,
very tropical.
it's very tropical. It's got a lot of revolutionary American. Don't even know how to describe it. Like elements, atmosphere, the whole aspect entirely. There's a lot of revolutionary imagery, obviously. El Presidente, that's Hispanic. So I can only assume it's one of those countries in that
The,
area.
the funny thing is, when I saw the trailer, I got Narcos vibes. It was so Narcos. I was like, "What is this?" And like, I remember people commenting, being like, "What is it? Netflix presents FarCry and stuff like that." And I was
I'm
like, "This
sorry,
is
but
brilliant."
just as you said, like Gus is in this trailer, I thought, oh god, this is a Breaking Bad game set where Gus actually
Gee.
won.
Oh, dude, that'd be sick. But no, I'm actually like that's the thing. My only issue with Far Cry because I've played three, I've played five. I like five, I like three. But my biggest problem with Far Cry is, and Ubisoft in general, which we'll get to, is that all their games feel the same.
I was about to
Like
ask, is Far Cry similar to Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs by any chance?
the best way to I describe it is that Far Cry is Assassin's Creed if it was first person. Watch Dogs is Assassin's Creed, but if it was set in the future. Like, because all the games borrow from each other. Like, you know, the whole like climbing towers thing.
Yeah.
They all do that. And I'm just there like, I don't want to play all of your games and franchises to feel exactly the same. Like, The Last of Us and Uncharted, they borrow mechanics, but they don't have the same tone or
Well,
like feel, for
allegedly,
example.
Watch Dogs and Assassin's Creed allegedly have a shared universe, so that might be a reason. I don't know about Far Cry. I haven't. I really need to play the Far Cry games, but
I'd recommend three. I'd say go from three.
so ignore 1 and 2 or any other games
Yeah, no,
that.
I don't really see the point playing one and two. I'd say play three. Four's not bad. I like five. I haven't finished it, but I really like five because it's based around a cult, and I
What?
really like
What?
cults.
Okay, Bracken. What about Primal?
That I feel like I think Primal is more like it's a game, but like a DLC expanded kind of game
Oh, I see.
where,
Okay.
yeah, and it's like BC and stuff like that. So it's really up to you if you want that. Personally, I didn't bother with it. Um, but I like three. Three was great. Enjoyed that. Really like five. Haven't finished it, but I am enjoying it. Um,
Say what you will about Ubisoft about how they're lazy with the mechanics and like their games and stuff. With all three of the games, the one currently talking about and the other two we'll get to later on, all of the cinematics are just gorgeous. They have nailed the cinematics. It's incredible.
would you say cinematics though, in the sense of their gameplay cinematics, or would you say more in the sense of
No,
their
I didn't say
cinematics?
that.
Because like I remember when Watch Dogs first came out, the cinematics for that were amazing, and then they did downgraded them when the game released.
That's usually the case, isn't it? It's just a case of,
Yeah.
oh, look, this is how pretty it's going to be. And then you get in there, oh, it's terrible. It's like how McDonald's advertises this is a delicious burger and you get it. It's like nowhere near as pretty.
Oh yeah, with the whole like their burgers, which they use glue for the advertisements, and
Yeah,
then
it's something like that. It's basically what I'm trying to say is Ubisoft is the McDonald's of the gaming industry.
fair point, I would
And you
say.
can quote me on that.
Fair point. Fab. Moving on from Far Cry, they decided to release a little bit more of the gameplay for Watch Dogs Legion, where apparently you can recruit anyone, and you're not playing as a set character. Now, okay, I know you quite like this, I believe.
Yes, just yes. I'm actually a really big fan of the Watch Dogs franchise, and when I heard of this, okay, All I'm going to say is this. I love this game for the one reason, that is you can play as a granny and beat the shit out of people. That's all I'm going to say. That's incredible.
That's fair. I mean, personally, I lost interest after Watch Dogs 1 just because I was very excited for that game, and then it was just freaking boring. Like, the best way to put it, the game was just boring.
Have you played
Like,
Watch Dogs 2?
I've not played Watch Dogs 2.
Okay.
I've heard good things, but I'll play it if it's ever given away for free on PS Plus.
So
But I'm not gonna go and
what
buy it.
what about the first one was boring? Was it just the atmosphere, the gameplay?
Um, I like the world, but the story was dull. Aiden Pierce is probably one of the worst voice acted characters I've ever seen. He
Yikes.
is so dull. Like he's like, there's no emphasis in anything he says. Like I said, the story was really dull and boring. Um, for me, it was a bit buggy because I bought it when it first came out.
Right.
Um, and I guess the other thing is because it was one of the very first games I've ever pre-ordered. Um, so I was kind of angry about that. Uh, um, but no, I just for me, I like some of the gameplay stuff. Where you could like hack stuff and stuff would happen. But I also didn't like how certain mechanics worked when you were driving and everything. I thought the driving and stuff was terrible. Um,
All I could
but
say is the sequel, Watch Dogs 2, it takes all of those things that you said are bad and it fixes them. It doesn't fix everything. The game is not a perfect 10 out of 10 game. All I will say is that it's very fun. You can definitely tell it in the style and the aesthetics at the very least. And you
does
can
does
definitely. Sorry?
does Aiden come back?
Um, I haven't played it in a while, so I can't honestly say that. He might be mentioned in passing, but it's definitely the same world. It definitely carries on. And I can say, because I saw the gameplay a couple of days ago, and I watched it just before this as well. Um, the third one, Legion, is a direct sequel, as far as we know, to the second one, because they even mentioned it in the gameplay that we're about to talk about. The group that you're affiliated with is called DedSec.
DedSec. Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember
that's
DedSec.
from
Yeah.
the second one as well.
Yeah, I remember DedSec. Yeah, from the first game and everything. But no, my only issue with Legion is as cool as it is to play as like and recruit different characters and everything. For me, I always like it when there is a set character because I feel like it's less lazy. Um, but
Well, I'm
you know,
not so certain that it's going to be a case of you can have multiple characters and there's no set character. The gameplay is suggesting that you can definitely recruit players and then have them play whenever you like, but I don't think it explicitly said you will not have a set character. So, I mean,
oh, so you reckon there will be a set character, but then these people in cutscenes is just various recruit in like side missions?
I reckon this gameplay is going to be similar to that of like Assassin's Creed Brotherhood and Assassin's
Hmm.
Creed 2, where you can recruit additional assassins, and like also in Revelations, where you can recruit assassins and then have them go and do different jobs. But unlike Assassin's Creed, all of those different games, Legion will be a little bit more hands on, where you can specifically control them in different areas.
How do you feel about London?
London.
Landon.
It's kind of weird because
It's yeah.
I kind of recently finished Assassin's Creed Syndicate, where I had to take over Victorian London and like completely, um, basically completely land take over all of the aspects and boroughs of London. And after watching the gameplay, I was like, oh, it's literally the same as Syndicate, except it's modern.
Yeah, yeah. That's the thing. I always found it really jarring that it was set in London, and I don't know why. I think anything that I've played that's British, I always find it really jarring. Um, I don't know why. I think it's just because everything is so Americanized now that whenever you watch something or hear a British accent, it's kind of like, oh, okay.
Well, that's the thing. The trailer is saying that it's going to be in London. However, the behaviors that you see on the trailer, you can definitely tell it's based off of the very same interactions and mechanics of the previous games, which were in America. So it's definitely going to have a very Americanized. It's like Americanized London, if you could say it that way, like the culture,
Yeah.
like the truth.
I mean, I remember the thing I did think was cool was that there was that scene that they ripped off from John Wick, which I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. But no, like I think I will probably wait if I do ever buy it again, maybe for PS Plus or when it's like a fiver, just to see what it's like. Um, but it doesn't look awful. I would say. I think for me, it got potential. I know you're really excited for it.
Well, I'm definitely gonna get. Well, I won't. I will not be pre-ordering it. That's for certain.
No.
Mainly because presently I don't know enough about the game to say, "Oh, this is a definite hands down. Here's my money. Give me the game," sort of thing. I will
Mhm.
get the game when I'm ready to get the game, and if I get it before you, Birkin, I'll definitely tell you what I think about it.
Sweet, fantastic. And moving on to the final main thing at the Ubisoft conference, Assassin's Creed Valhalla was finally shown some gameplay. That's right. This time it was actual gameplay, by the way. Um, what do you make of this, Hockey?
Um, I don't even know where to begin, to be honest,
Mhm.
because the last time they were showing gameplay, it wasn't really gameplay. It was just it was like the most non-gameplay footage we've seen so far, with like low res cinematic vibes.
Yeah,
So to see this, firstly, thank you for finally showing us gameplay. Finally, but I don't know how to put how I feel in words. How about you go first?
I don't like it.
Well,
See, my
there we
my
go.
big my biggest problem with it is that it feels and looks like Odyssey, but with a change of skin.
Mm,
And I personally don't like the Odyssey style, just because it isn't for me. And for me, that's not Assassin's Creed. Like for me, Assassin's Creed is like the previous style. Like I didn't mind this RPG style if you want to have it, but it should be its own spin-off franchise.
yeah,
Like it shouldn't be called Assassin's Creed. It should be called like History Simulator 2 or something. You know, like it's got nothing to do with Assassin's Creed. Like
as
to
far
the
as we
point
know. Excuse
like
me.
to the I know that they said that they're going to have assassins and stuff in it, which is fair enough. But like to the point where you bring back the whole social stealth and people are excited about that. That's my problem with it. It's like that's something that was already in the previous games. Like bringing that back and you as a fan base being excited about that is like getting your arm cut off by like someone and then them handing back the arm. Like that was already yours, like to begin with. Do you get what I mean?
I do get what
Like,
you mean.
like you already had that already existed, and they took it out, and now they're trying to rebrand it as something new and unique that they're bringing back, and I don't like that. I find that very insulting. Like it's not new. We've seen it before. Like it's great it's coming back, but show me something new that you've added from the previous like with the previous style. That will get my intrigue. Do you get what I mean?
I do get you. Actually, I had a similar discussion with a friend of mine. As I
Mhm.
said, I recently finished Syndicate. Now, Syndicate is I think 4 generations before this one, so it's like Valhalla, Odyssey, Origins,
Yeah, it
Syndicate.
would be the fourth,
Yep.
yeah.
Um, it's kind of weird. So if you can stretch your memory as far back as like Assassin's Creed Revelations, in that game they introduce like a new variation of the Assassin's Creed Hidden Blade. So you
Yes.
have like Assassin's Creed 2, he becomes assassin, he has the hidden blade. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, he gets two hidden blades.
Hmm.
And then Assassin's Creed Revelations, he gets the hook blade. And it's like, oh, it's like the hidden blade, except now it has the feature of you can use it to extend to more further heights. You can do more exotic takedowns and more complicated takedowns and like assassinations with this blade. It's like, oh, this is really cool. But then after that, all of this progression sort of like stopped because then we went to Assassin's Creed 3, which was a completely different, separate game without Ezio. And all of that progress just disappeared. There was no longer the double blade. There was no longer the hook blade. It was just back to regular blade. And they explored a new avenue of things. And I can see a constant theme where they introduce new stuff and then suddenly take it away. And the best example I can say is because Syndicate did it, and I really am annoyed because I really like what Syndicate did. They introduced this thing where it's essentially like a zip line. You can shoot
Hmm.
a zip line from your hidden blade, and you can use it to get across really far distances. We're talking like hundreds of meters. which is so helpful. I was able to scale multiple different buildings and travel across the city in a mere minutes compared to like the hours I'm supposed to do on foot or by using carriage. And once I finished Syndicate, I went straight to Origins because I have Origins, and Origins is set way before everything. So there was nothing. There wasn't even the hidden blade anymore. There was just a sword and a hawk that follows me everywhere. And like and like what you just said regarding like the whole social hiding thing. They didn't even have that in Origins. They had the similar thing where you could hide in really tall grass and that's it. So they're taking these really cool ideas and they keep giving them to you. And then at the end of the game, they're like, okay, this is what we gave you. We're not doing that anymore. That's gone. We now got this new system. And then they're probably going to, after this game, they're going to do another game where they're going to reintroduce something like, oh, look, it's the dual hidden blade thing now.
That's the
Remember that?
thing. That's the thing as well. Like another issue I've got with Valhalla is that there's the whole RPG choices mechanism, which to me doesn't make sense in their world. Considering this is a game based on the history of ancestors, how can me and you play the same game if you're going off that context and make different choices? Considering this is based on the past and the past is already predetermined.
Excuse me. I have to say I have to agree with you, and that is every time you try and make an alternative decision in every previous game, you get desynchronized.
Yeah, no, exactly. You're spot on as well. Like, it's also, I remember watching and seeing a lot of people complaining about the futuristic aspect of Assassin's Creed and being like, oh, yeah, good, get rid of the whole Animus thing. I hate playing that future storyline. But the thing is, if you don't like the Animus bit, you don't like Assassin's Creed.
Because that is
Like,
Assassin's Creed storyline.
that is Assassin's Creed. Like, because I remember what was it? I think it was Angry Joe who was complaining to him and his mates about the Animus stuff, and they were like, "Oh, I hate the fact the Animus stuff takes you out of the game when you're just getting really into that historical world." And I'm like, "Well, then you don't like Assassin's Creed because the Animus is the object you use to get into that world." Like, there are two separate storylines going on. That's what made Assassin's Creed so intriguing because you had the amazing like historical aspect and exploring all that on top of the whole conspiracy thing that was going on with like Abstergo and the
Mm.
world and the fight with the Templars and the Assassins for like control, and that in itself was a thrilling story plot, but obviously that got thrown aside, and they obviously concluded the whole Juno thing in some comic book somewhere. um,
Can
but
you believe that the storyline that ended with Desmond, in Assassin's Creed 3, it's still going on in terms of like the futuristic side?
that's the thing, they ended that in a comic.
Did they?
Yes.
So like it's already predetermined. We now know how that story ends.
Supposedly, you know how it ends. They still have the stuff with the new girl that's in the Origins games. She's doing something, but there's the whole Juno Minerva plot with the ICU.
Yeah, yeah.
Is I think that gets to whatever happens there gets explained in a comic book,
That's ridiculous because
which
I
I find completely insulting.
in Syndicate and in Origins they continued the storyline, and I was like, why is this still going on? I thought Desmond died, and then they said, oh, Desmond did die. Here's his body, and then Sean and Rebecca are still in the background trying to do stuff.
Uh-huh.
And I
Yeah, yeah,
thought
yeah.
it's kind of weird having to experience. It's like experiencing the first, game one all the way to Assassin's Creed 3 all over again, but from like a backseat perspective. It's like I'm not in control of this anymore. I'm not watching this. I'm just a bystander. There's no central character anymore across the games.
Well, that's the issue as well. Like you say, like it's insulting that you end this story in a comic book to like all the people who've bought all your games, essentially. At the same time, like you said, there's no really a lead anymore. Yeah, you've got the new person. We'll see where that goes, obviously, because apparently they're planning to do something with that. But right now, it feels like you've just been buying time for the like past three games or whatever.
Yes,
Um, and like like I said, personally, I don't like the fact there's no set assassin that you play as properly. Like, you play as like in this new one, you play as whatever the character's name is, and you can choose if they're male or female or whatever. But it's the fact that where you can customize way too much of it, and I just find that a little bit lazy because it's like, so what is this character's history, background, the relationships, like,
I'm sorry for keep bringing this up, but I have to bring up Syndicate again because Syndicate did that right, where they said, okay, if you want to be a male protagonist or a female protagonist, you can choose. Because the story of Syndicate centers around the Frey twins, so you can choose to
Mhm.
be Jacob or Evie depending on the situation. But if you customize it too much, then suddenly the history has now become more fictitious, and this is not based off events because this character was made by the player.
Yeah. No, exactly. And I that's the thing. The thing with stuff like that is always obviously Mass Effect and everything like that does that as well. But the reason why it works so well in those is the fact that it's the relationship the player has with the other characters that carries games like that.
Yeah.
And obviously in say the Assassin's Creed now, there aren't any iconic characters like side characters that you can remember. Like go back to Assassin's Creed 2, you had Da Vinci and stuff like that, right? You had Uncle Mario. These are all memorable characters, but now there's like hardly anybody.
Hmm.
Like like I know that, and plus they're really badly voice hacked as well. Like but that's the thing. I personally really liked Origins as a one time thing, but I didn't want it to continue
I'm
with
still
that
playing Origins, but I really
style.
like Origins. It's so nice.
Like Origins is really nice, and I really like the story, but I hate Odyssey. Like Odyssey, like for me was like this isn't even Assassin's Creed. Like it's just Spartan Simulator 7, you know. But moving on from Assassin's Creed Valhalla, The Sims is finally, that's right, getting a reality TV show called The Sims Spark. Is that right?
Sparked.
Oh, Spark. There you are. This is intriguing. Augie, how do you feel about it?
What is even happening nowadays? Like, if you had told me like 5 years ago, hey, Sims, that really cool game series, yeah, it's gonna get a reality TV series akin to that of like MasterChef. Like, I
No,
would never have thought that it's gonna happen, but apparently it's happening.
no, exactly. Yeah, that's my thing as well. I was like, this is now a thing. Like, why is this a thing?
So,
You know?
so to give some more context, according to the synopsis of the show, this reality TV series will be akin to that of like a TV competition series in which there will be contestants coming in. They will be working either individually or in groups. It's not really clear in this article I read. I need to do some more reading, of course. But these contestants will come in and they'll be given a variety of challenges in sequential rounds in which they'll be asked to create different stories, different characters, different settlements, basically fulfill a very specific creative challenge while using Sims as the tool to create said challenge. So they could, for example, be told to make a family home or make a city or make a short story of some variety in which they'll give obviously like genre, there's some more parameters, that sort of thing. But that's essentially what we got from it. And the trailer, I think I've already made myself clear to Birkin before the recording. I'm not really fond of the editing and what they've shown of this series in the trailer. It's a bit jarring, unfortunately. What did you think, Birkin?
Yeah, no, I do agree. The editing of the trailer is very jarring, and I mean, it could be something fun, and just something to have on in the background, like all reality shows. Unless you really like reality shows, then more power to you. But like I don't really know how I feel about it. I feel like it's something, like I said, that you will just have on in the background because it's trash TV. Uh, but no, it'll be interesting to see, especially with the whole what you call it, that creative aspect you're on about with the tools that they get.
Yeah,
I'll be intrigued to see how that works out and how much freedom the contestants actually get.
yeah, I don't know exactly what the full extent is, but apparently this version of Sims they'll be using is equipped with a certain editing tool that will make it a little bit more streamlined, a little bit more polished and professional looking, as opposed to the usual Sims that we use, which would be kind of interesting to see how that looks. But the really strange thing about this game is that the prize for the winner is so big. It's $100,000 for the winning
Jeez.
contestant. It's a lot of money for
That's
the
a
winning
lot of
contestant
money.
of this reality TV show.
It's a lot of money for playing The Sims.
Well, when you put it like that, but then again, we have like obviously esports. So in a way, it's sort of like a
Yeah.
similar thing, but not really competitive. Well, excuse me, it is competitive, but not in terms of sports, but like creative, which is kind of unique when you think about it. Like, how many other games have you ever heard reaching this level of popularity in this aspect before? Like, it's not a game about sports; it's a game about how creative are you. Here's your money. Well done.
No, I do agree in that aspect. It's sort of like if you were to, get Minecraft or like, Lego game or something, and then you were told, go make a building, like an architectural contest.
It's just coming to show how far things have come in the past few years, maybe even the past decade, where now the idea of let's plays and even competitions involving let's plays are now so um, widely viewed. It's now mainstream. There's a bloody television show about it. So that's how far we've come. Next, we'll probably get like an actual esports in which it'll be publicly televised nationally.
Yeah, very good point. It's also like slowly we're getting to the point where gaming and television are sort of meshing into one.
Mm.
Because obviously you've got what you've got this as a reality show, you've got esports, you've got Last of Us getting a TV series, you got The Witcher, which is originally a book, but you get my point. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, and our final topic is a pretty big one, which is apparently the PlayStation 5 is rumored to have a patented emulation for the PlayStation 1 to PlayStation 3. Now, I know, Oggy, this is something you've been very excited for.
Absolutely, 100%. I heard of this originally as a rumor about maybe 6 months ago. There was like a bunch of different articles saying that the PlayStation 5 would be reverse compatible as far back as PlayStation 1. There were additional rumors which were countering and saying it's going to be as far back as PlayStation 3. Loads of different alternative rumors, but there was one report that came out saying that apparently Sony patented made an actual patent regarding technology for reverse compatibility or emulation, and now we're getting confirmation that apparently this is happening.
Yeah, that's the thing that's quite intriguing, considering the PS5 reveal and everything. You only got the information that it would play PlayStation 4 games, so I wonder how they're going to do this. Like, is this going to be a patch that gets bought in later, or like, will it
Well,
be like a PlayStation Now sort of thing?
well, if it's PlayStation or if it's like an emulation, I'm not sure if that's in regards to like you can place in a disc from the original PlayStation 1, 2, or 3 and it will work in your PlayStation 5, or will it be a digital thing that you're going to have to download in which you'll be like nostalgically playing the same sort of quality on PlayStation 5? I don't know how it's going to play out, but it could be any one of these different scenarios. But what we do know is that apparently this is the case. We will be able to revisit some of our favorite titles from 1 to 3.
What I'm hoping for is that I hope it's the sort of system if you have, say, the digital version, no, not the disc version, of where you have the emulation, but you put the disc in and then the console reads the disc and it's like, yep, you definitely own this game. And then it like attaches itself to your library.
Yeah, that'd be really
Like,
nice.
but then again, there's that issue of people who bought the digital version. How does it work for them?
Good point.
Like, so it's very much. I just hope I don't have to buy the same games again because that's a waste of my time
Yeah. Well,
in the nicest way.
one thing I definitely can say, in terms of like an observation standpoint, if this does enable PlayStation 4 to have, well, sorry, excuse me, if this patent for PlayStation 1 to 3, where you can play different games through an emulator on PlayStation 5, if it is in fact the case and we can play any of them, Sony have just made a masterclass move against all of its competitors
Hmm.
in just through PlayStation 2 alone, it has the largest video game library that we know of. It has so many game titles. So to have just PlayStation 2 alone now being able to emulate on the PlayStation 5 is ridiculous. But we now have 1 to 3 as well as obviously reverse compatibility for 4. which means you can literally pick up any PlayStation game, regardless of the generation, and supposedly play it on the PlayStation 5. That is pure genius because now that means you can go back to all of those retro shops, all those charity shops, whichever places, the thrift shops that sell all those old PlayStation 2 games or like those bootleg games. You can just pick them up again and just play them, which
That's the
means,
thing.
yeah.
Because I know we got that Mark Sony tech like jump into where they talked about all the tech and everything, but we've not actually seen how the console runs or anything like that. So I presume we'll get another event where they actually show you like the user interface and everything like that.
Mm,
Because like I know at that conference they talked about you know
they teased it.
PS4.
They really teased it.
Yeah, but they didn't say anything about anything else. And I've been saying since day one that there is no way the PS5 will run PlayStation 3 games. But I never said nothing about emulation. I said that was possible. I just said in terms of like proper backwards compatibility, in terms of like putting a disc in, that would never ever happen because the PlayStation 3 uses a completely different architecture to the point where like developers hated it. you know, like
Yeah.
there's a reason why you can't play Metal Gear Solid 4 on any other console,
Yeah.
like because it was made for PS3 from the bottom up. Like, you know,
But now if this emulator does enable us to now play these games, we can now just revisit them.
no, exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. The emulation things is a completely different aspect. It's just intriguing to see if they'll do like a PlayStation Now streaming sort of thing with it, or if they'll do the sort of stuff like you were saying, where if you already own it, do you already get the games you already own? That kind of thing. That's what I'm hoping for because I've got a lot of PS2 games.
Well, there's still time until the game is released. There's still a lot of secrets that they haven't revealed. I doubt they'll reveal everything, which is fine. But as long as we get the information we need before um, the console is available for pre-order, everything will be fine, I reckon. Sony seems to
Yeah,
have got this nailed.
yeah. Well, it'll be intriguing to see. And there's also the Microsoft conference on the 23rd. Um,
I'm, I'm so curious to see how Microsoft's going to clap back because
yeah,
honestly, when it with this reveal, honestly, now Microsoft are in big trouble.
it'll be intriguing to see, and we'll obviously let you know what happens there. Otherwise, it's been a great episode. I know we're a little bit late, but we've had some personal issues and things to go through. But yeah, we'll definitely see you on the next one. Thank you, Oggy, for joining.
Thank you very much for having me.
Not a problem, my good friend. See you next time, my friends, and stay safe.